Joining us now on Radio Exposed is a Chicago area singer. On February 15th, she will be having an EP release show at Underground. I put Underground Water Bar. So Underground Wonder Bar. We welcome Lady Laura to the show. Hi, Laura.
Hi. I like Underground Water Bar.
Yeah, it's got like an underworld like water thing. I feel like I should be collecting coins when I go there.
Yeah, totally. Except if they only serve water, then that's just silly.
Well, Underground Liquor Bar.
Oh God!
Well,
what a disaster of a bar that would be.
Well, bring goggles because it'll burn your eyes.
Yeah, right.
So at what age did you start showing an interest in music?
Oh, goodness gracious! I mean, I've been singing since a little kid. You know, my mom likes to tell the story that she used to sing Edelweiss from Sound of Music to us, like as a lullaby. And she said one day, like, she's holding me in her arms, and I sang back to her, and she called my grandmother, freaking out, like, what do I do with this kid? like, because I was just really little. But I've always been singing. You know, my grandmother was a singer. We always had, like, musicals on in our house. I remember my parents had West Side Story and vinyl that they would play. And, yeah, I just kept up with it in different forms, of course, but, you know, as long as I can remember, I guess.
Now, in your videos and in your music, and you've mentioned this on various other places, that you're very well versed at the piano. You very good piano skills. Any other?
Oh, thank you.
Any other instruments that you can play?
I did buy a guitar because I have at various points in my life tried to pick up a guitar. I always get deterred though because my fingers hurt so much. So that's, yeah, it's coming along. I'll just say it's coming along. I have a very nice guitar, and I have promised myself that I will learn it. So, yeah, there's that.
Any, like, bashing on the drums?
Oh, guitar, does Rock Band count? Because I kill on the drums on that game.
It does. The only problem with Rock Band is it sounds like when you're like on Michigan Avenue and the little horse-drawn carriage comes by?
Yeah.
It sounds like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I would like to, as time goes on, continue to spend lots and lots of money on different instruments and just, have them in my house and force my children someday to play them. I don't have kids now, but future children.
Right now you can just teach any children. Just find children like, you're learning music, damn it.
Well, I'll lock them in the room and be like, go, learn. Do this. What was that band, the all-girl band that the dad locked him in the garage?
I don't know.
I don't know what they're called, but there's a whole music about them, the Shills or something like that. It's a whole musical. It's great. Anyway, blah, blah.
You've given me homework to look up now. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah, look it up, because they're really bad, but it's just an interesting story.
I mean, they're locked up. They're not good. They're not learning anything, but
no, they're really not good. But yeah, but with the piano, I played as a child. Mostly played I guess initially like classical, like sight reading stuff that I would play exactly what was on the page. As I got older, I sort of abandoned it. Like when I went to school, I didn't have a piano to play, and I wasn't about to go to sit in the practice rooms and play piano when I could go be doing something else fun. But then, my parents split up and they sent me the piano to be in my apartment and picked it up again. And now I've just been playing on it more and more and trying to write, which is writing for the piano is very different than, sight reading off of a page. So it's been challenging, but I've enjoyed it. Definitely. It's fun.
All right. As a kid, you had music growing up. Before I get into the next set of questions, I have to ask, any video game experience? Did you have a Nintendo growing up?
Oh, God, yeah. My brother, my sister, and I'm the middle child. We saved up and we bought the NES ourselves because we saved up. We did tours and everything. I remember it was $150, and when we got it, it was the world exploded. We would just spend hours down there, and my parents ended up making some rule that was for every hour you spend outside, you can have a half hour on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then my cousins gave us the Power Pad, and we didn't have track and field, but we had Athletic World. So, we're in the basement, sweating, all the neighbor kids are over and everything, and yeah, so that was definitely what we had in our house. And then we graduated to the Sega Genesis and the Sega Game Gear, but from then we never really had anything after that. You know, either we couldn't afford it or wasn't interested, or the neighbor kid had it, so we didn't, you know, and then, yeah.
Oh, the days of
definitely.
borrowing games to the neighbors. Oh, I miss those days.
It was the Pacacos. They had Super Nintendo. So we would go next door and play Super Nintendo at their house, and then we would come to our house and play on the Power Pad.
Now, you mentioned the Power Pad, and this is something that I did. Did you ever find a way to cheat on that? Cause, like,
obviously.
After a year, we just cut the pad like up and just like used our thumbs on the sensors.
Oh, so you really went all out to cheat. Like, you took time.
Oh yeah. I consider myself a
there
top
was,
shelf
like,
cheater.
Effort involved.
All right.
No,
so,
we would, the farthest we would go to cheese, we would just get on our hands and our knees and pound on it with our hands.
all right. So the Nintendo themed questions brought us to the next thing. How did you hook up with I Fight Dragons? What was the timeline on that one?
Well, let's see. Okay, so I was graduating college. I studied musical theater at Roosevelt, and I hadn't even had my headshots done or anything like that. I was just about to graduate, and I went on, I think it was like Playbill.com or some website that lists all these auditions that people can kind of sort through and audition. And I saw this thing for a musical called Green Eyes, and I was like, I have green eyes. So that was really the only reason why I sent them an email, and I just said I don't have headshots yet, I don't have anything. They're like, okay, come back and come and audition for us. And I went to the theater building, which is now Stage 773 here in Chicago, and I auditioned for them, and Brian Mazzaferri was the person who wrote the show, and so I was auditioning for him, and there was just like an immediate, like, sort of banter connection that happened between us. I was actually, a funny story, I was still drunk because the day before was St. Patrick's Day.
That'll do it.
I almost didn't even go to the audition. So that was bad, but, you know, I still sang well enough, I guess. So I got the call back, got the part. So we worked together on his show, Green Eyes, and after that we stayed friends, and we kept singing together, and we found ourselves going to different cabarets, and he would be singing and I would get up and sing with him, or I would sing and he would get up and sing with me, or, you know, stuff like that. Meanwhile, he was pursuing his solo thing with Hari and Packy. You know, they were in his band, and Mike Menser, one of the original members of I Fight Dragons. And when Brian had the idea for I Fight Dragons, he called me and he's like, can you come play keys? Originally, like, the Nintendo thing, the sounds were there, but playing the controllers live wasn't a part of it yet initially. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to come and play keys. And then when we decided to do the Nintendo stuff, that's when Bill came on, and that was like in the second practice that we had. So I started playing the controllers live, and that's how it started. But, yeah, it started from a musical. Our relationship, anyway, our friendship started from a musical.
That was the first time I saw you live. It was with I Fight Dragons. You were playing the show with MC Chris and Whole Wheat Bread.
Yes.
Was that how fun was that tour?
Oh God, ridiculous stories from that tour. We had a lot of fun. Whole Wheat Bread, those guys are awesome, and they were like, and Chris too. You know, they were all like tour veterans. They all did. You know, they all knew what to do. It was our first tour, and so it was nice to have guidance from them. Oh gosh, we had so much fun. Just so much shenanigans happened on that tour. It was a nice introduction to what it was to tour with a band for all of us. None of us had done that ever.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was your first tour. What did you take from not only the tour experience, but what did you learn from MC Chris and Whole Wheat Bread, watching them prepare for shows, watching them prepare for the road?
You know, there's a lot. They were very, very, I'm going to say organized, but they just knew what they were doing. They had their rhythm. They knew, like, how to really execute everything really well when it comes to, like, merch. They got their merch stuff up immediately. You know, they knew how to strike. They knew how to load their van. They knew how to do this. You know, and Chris had completely streamlined his entire set. He just had a Mac plugged in, and he would just, you know, rap to track. Mm-hmm. And he had one guy touring with him, and they toured in a van. So, I mean, cost-wise, we learned a lot from them of how, I guess you could say how expensive it is to tour with 6, 7 people as opposed to touring with 2, 3, maybe 4, you know. We learned a lot about that. Holy Bread was touring in a 15-passenger van with a trailer. Chris was touring in a van, like a minivan, and we were in this massive, like, kind of tour bus thing that we called the Dragon Wagon. It was this big, like, truck, I guess you could say. So we were, you know, we looked like we were the headliners, but really the headliner was in a minivan, and we were in this weird tour bus. But we learned a lot from them. A lot.
That's good. And then you also had the show at the Elbow Room, which I know there's some YouTube stuff. There's this, one of the first songs I downloaded was from that. Like how early into the band's like experience was that show at the Elbow Room?
Oh, well, we had, we recorded the album summer 2008, and then we had one like sort of practice show at the Elbow Room. It was like my hair was in a ponytail. It was just so chill. And I think the one that you're talking about would be the EP release of Cool Is Just a Number.
Yeah, it's probably it.
Yeah, and God, so that was like right in the beginning. Like that was the very, very beginning. Like our harmonies weren't solid. I mean, messing up the controllers left and right. Like to go from, you know, a piano that's, you know, very like up and down lateral and it makes sense musically, to go to a Nintendo controller that is all patterned, you know, and doesn't make sense like that. It was just very difficult. It took some getting used to for sure.
Now, when I had Brian on from I Fight Dragons, I had him on last year, and I got a lot of heat from not only I Fight Dragons fans, but your fans for not asking, like, about your departure. So, now that I have you on, what happened?
What happened was, like, very, very personal. In my opinion, it didn't, you know, and obviously there's conflict with this opinion that I didn't think it had anything to do with the band and shouldn't have been part of business. Like, we were a professional band. We were signed to Atlantic Records, and I just thought that any personal thing shouldn't be a part of band business. You know, I was able to separate it, but they were not, I guess. But so I guess what I'm saying is that it's not something that really should be out, you know, really should be common knowledge, because I never wanted it to be knowledge at all. It involved not just me. I wasn't the only person involved. I was just the only one who was asked to leave the band for it. But, you know, I've come to the point that I've really let most of it go. I would be happy to say exactly what happened, but I know they wouldn't, and they don't want it to be out, and I respect that.
Okay,
you know?
I'd say that's a fair answer.
Off, but yeah, like I'm pissed off about it. Like, it sucked. I didn't think it was right, and they admitted that it wasn't fair, but that came with like a but. This is still going to happen. So, but like I said, I really come to terms with it, and I don't want to come out and say what happened, because I don't want to put their reputation, and this is like really nice of me, I don't want to put their reputation and I don't want to discolor how the fans see them, because I think it's something that might, you know, but yeah, that's all I'll say.
All right,
they're good. Ultimately they're good guys, and I wish them the best.
All right. So just, you know, it's all in the past now. Let's look into the future. You're a solo act now. Your EP Jezebel has a winter release, February 15th. What made you decide to do it in like a 4-part process like that?
I was writing these songs, and I realized that while I was writing them, they came out, they told the story. They told the story of the past year about, like, you know, the band asking me to leave, and, you know, my husband asking me to leave, you know, which all happened at once. And I'm writing these songs, and I realize that they told the story of what it means to get over something, what it means to push through something, what it means to think that you're doing okay and then realize you're not doing okay. So I wanted to get this story out and start having it come out, and I was like, oh, I could release it chronologically. You know, I could have it, the songs I wrote in the fall come out in fall. the songs I wrote in winter, spring, summer, and have it come out. And each album, each EP, each piece of it just gets brighter and brighter and brighter, which I find to be interesting. You know, I got my degree in theater. I've always just loved telling stories, and this is, you know, frankly, one hell of a story. So why not tell it in a way that's, you know, you can understand a little more.
That is very interesting, too. And then with the writing, you're very active on Twitter, at Lady Laura G, by the way, for those of you who want to follow her.
Follow me.
Yeah, follow her. And then like her on Facebook, too. I'll throw that link out later.
Yeah.
You're seemingly very open about your feelings with, some of your feelings with the band and your marriage, and how much of that goes into the writing. And now that you're releasing this in like seasonal type stuff, are you hoping that like in the future, like the writing does get like cheerier? Like you start out kind of like almost like a movie where things are here and then things get bad and then things get good. Like, is that what you're hoping for?
These songs, they get so cheery. Like where I am right now in my life, I am super duper happy. Like really, I have a good time. I am certainly in a different place from when I wrote Our Lullaby. Like leaps and it's just so different. You know, my life is just so different now, and I'm so much happier and so much more together than I was then. You know, as far as being open about things on Twitter and about everything, you know, I know there are people who would argue with me on this, but everybody's a person, you know, and sometimes it's nice to say, I am this, and this is how I feel, because somebody else might be feeling like that, and they become a support for you, and you become a support for them. Mm-hmm. You know, and as someone who's not very out, but out enough, you know, it's sometimes nice to know, like, I'm going through the shits, and then someone's like, I'm going through the shits too, and you sort of feel better about things. You know, in the songs that I've put out so far, I've gotten such an really overwhelming response to, like, I know how this feels, and thank you for writing this song. Mm-hmm. You know, I had a friend who also went through a divorce, and he's like, these songs are so raw. He's like, I know exactly what they feel like, though. Like, thank you for writing them. I'm like, cool, thank you for saying that. That's cool. Yeah, so it's been a cool journey writing this album, for sure.
Now, in this new age of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, iTunes, how do you feel about like future projects? Is it like, you know, write the stuff, EP, or are you like going to do more video type stuff and like show the fans the process of writing these EPs and then ultimately releasing them during the seasons?
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't even thought of that. Like I put a few videos up, you know, down the road I might talk about exactly what each song means and the process that happened behind them. But first, you know, the album can come out and people can think about whatever they want with the songs. I'm not going to say why I wrote them or what they mean, because somebody can insert their life into it, you know, and figure that out for themselves and sort of make the song theirs. But yeah, I mean, there will be more videos. I'm definitely going to have a few music videos come out with that. But yeah, eventually I would love to like talk about my writing process. Usually I'll be bored at work and a melody will pop into my head and I elaborate from there. I like run and grab my phone and like sing quietly into my phone.
I kind of do that with the show where like I'll be like on the train going into the city and all of a sudden a topic comes into my head. I'm like, where's my phone? Like I gotta note that. I'll text myself. Like, okay, so I'll get that and I'll write that later.
MemoPad, the MemoPad app is like, oh gosh, it's so great. I lost my phone. Actually, my phone got stolen, and I was mostly upset that my MemoPad. I lost all my lyrics. I was like, freaking out.
Oh, that's horrible.
My MemoPad. And voice recorder is huge.
I had some stuff on Color Note for the Android, and I
don't even know what that is. What's Color Note?
It's just something I found on the market. It's just roughly the same thing. It's just a notepad, but yeah, I just had a phone reset. I'm like, oh, I had so many show topics in there. Luckily, I put them all, or some of them on YouTube, not YouTube, Yahoo. I'll like write emails to myself and just save the draft.
Yeah.
So I'll do some of that stuff too.
That's a good idea.
Now let's say you have a friend that says, you know what, Laura, I have a couple guys in a band. that need a female part. Would you entertain the idea again, or has that past idea just kind of soured you and you just want to go solo?
That's a good question. I will say I've been pretty soured. I've been pretty soured. I would entertain it, I think, at this point. I would entertain it. This album is just piano vocal. Like, I do want to really have that solo feel about it. The next album I'm already writing for, I want drums for sure and other instruments in there. Start getting a more of a backed feel. Joining another band. I mean, I play with Matt Ride's band. What are we called? Matt Ride and the Awesomes? Oh, he's gone. I'm at Matt Ride's house for anyone who's wondering if I'm weird. Yeah. I play with them for sure. Matt Ride, R-Y-D, look him up. But like going full into a whole new project, I would entertain it, I think.
All right.
Yeah. It'd be scary. I'd be like, I'm freaking out, man. It's like joining a new relationship, You're in a band and you're working with people really closely and, you get attached to them. Like the guys in IFD, I definitely considered them my family, which made it, even more hurtful, unfortunately. But, it's like re-entering a relationship. It's like, okay, am I ready to do this again? Eventually I think everybody, that's a lie. Eventually I think I will be. That might be now, but I don't know.
All right. We'll see. On your Twitter profile, you say, when life gives you lemons, make delicious arcade-themed cocktail. Since you make cocktails, let's say I walked in and I'm like, make me something strong. What would you make me right now? Kind of on the spot, make me a cocktail.
Sazerac. I would make you a Sazerac.
What is in that?
A Sazerac is a rye whiskey. You use a brown sugar syrup, so like a sugar in the raw or a demerara, if you will, and Peychaud's bitters, which are like a very floral light bitters. They're the pink bottle that you see at bars. Mm-hmm. And then the glass is rinsed in absinthe. So it's one of the oldest cocktails. It's a beautiful and elegant cocktail. It's so great. So what you have is this like essentially sweetened rye. So that's all you get on your tongue is a sweetened rye. Everything else in it is totally aromatic. So you have the absinthe that you're smelling as you drink the drink. You have the bitters that you're smelling. And then, of course, all of the aroma that's in the rye to begin with. And at the end of it, you take a lemon swath and you add the oils and juices of the lemon peel into the drink. And so it assaults your nose in the most wonderful way. But it's mostly just rye whiskey. And then you stir it down until it's like not hot anymore, until you don't get that like bite from alcohol that you get. And you serve it, and it's just wonderful. It teaches people how to love rye and whiskey. It's great.
You've sold me. Count me in.
So good. And it's so good. I love serving people Sazeracs, especially people who are like, I don't like whiskey. And it's like, just try this. And it just totally changed their mind.
I plan on getting Jameson like later tonight. So yeah, I would say I'm a whiskey fan.
Yeah, delicious.
All right, February 15th, Underground Wonder Bar, not Water Bar.
Yeah.
Underground Wonder Bar, EP release.
Yes.
Not only is this a live show and an EP release for Jezebel, you're also raising some money. Tell us about the MS tour for the Tour de Farms.
Yes, I decided, I've been riding my bike for many years, and I haven't done a century, which is riding 100 miles. I haven't done it in a while, and I was like, you know what, maybe I want to do another long-distance ride. My cousin's wife was diagnosed with MS last year, I think it was, and it's, it's a disease that affects a lot of, especially women my age and slightly older when people are diagnosed. And, it's something that I'm passionate about, and I just would like to do something to raise money for it. So part of I don't know how much I haven't decided that yet, but part of the proceeds of what comes in from the show is going to go towards, fundraising for the ride. And then, of course, when the album's for sale, part of the sales will go there, too. It's just something nice to do.
Yeah.
If I can raise the money for it, I have a job, and I'm very happy with where my life is, and if I can give a little bit back, I'm very happy to do that. So we're riding 150 miles, 100 miles the first day, 50 miles the second day. We're riding on Team Jezebel, so if anyone's interested in riding with us or donating, there'll be information up both on my Facebook page and on my website.
All right, and on our website, we'll put links to your Facebook and your Twitter and your website, so
wonderful.
We'll cover all that stuff, too. And it sounds like it's going to be one hell of a show. February 15th at the Underground Wonder Bar.
Underground Wonder Bar is so much fun. Oh, it's such a great place.
I've never
and they
been
have
there.
a new baby grand piano in there, so I was like, I'm playing a show here. I am.
I'm excited. I will definitely be there. How will your fans be able to get your EP?
Well, at the show, it's going to be free. You sign up for the mailing list, the EP's free. And I'm going to have download cards there. My computer will be there. And if you bring what's that called, a thumb drive, I'll just load it right on there. I'll also have a few CDs on the spot. If someone really wants a CD and they want to burn it, I can do that too. It's probably going to be easier just to take a download card. Also, the album will be up on Bandcamp. It's ladylauramusic.bandcamp.com. So that'll be up, and that's also where you can download El Alibi for free, which was Jezebel Fall. So that'll be how it's up. I mean, eventually I'm going to put it up on iTunes, probably not until the summertime when the full album is released, all 4 seasons.
All right, and since you're throwing out all kinds of links, Facebook.com/Lady Laura Music, Twitter at Lady Laura G.
Yeah.
And then you have your own YouTube channel, which is nice.
Yeah. And they all link to each other. It's like a sort of Lady Laura incest fest. They all link to each other.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. Well, Laura, thanks for joining us on our silly little show.
Thank you.
We hope for big things with Jezebel, and good luck with
I'm excited about it. I feel good.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I'm glad to see you back on stage. And
me too. It feels really good.
And now here is Lady Laura with Our Lullaby on Radio Exposed.